Welcome to my YouTube channel. Hit the like button, share your thoughts, subscribe, and tap the bell icon. The cold plastic chair scraped against the tiled floor as Usher froze, her fingers trembling around the paper cup of soda. Outside the McDonald's window, the blue and red lights of the patrol car flickered like a warning. A storm was coming, and she was its target. "Is that them?" one of the boys whispered, loud enough for her to hear, smirking as he nudged his friend. The group of teens, all faces flushed with the thrill of what they'd done, watched as two white officers stepped out of the car, hands already resting on their belts. Usher's heart pounded so hard, she thought the whole restaurant would hear it. She had done nothing except sit quietly, headphones in, waiting for her mum to pick her up. She'd logged into the free Wi-Fi to message her mom, "Mom, stuck here, please hurry." But now this dot. The door chimed as the officers walked in. The lead cop, a tall man with sharp eyes, scanned the room. His gaze landed on her, the only black girl in the building. The bullies, the same boys who'd glared at her when she walked in, who'd whispered and pointed, now put on their best innocent faces. "She's been here all day." One of them spoke up, voice dripping with fake concern. "We thought, maybe she was up to something." "Yeah, like maybe stealing Wi-Fi or something," another chimed in, trying to sound helpful. Usher's throat tightened. She opened her mouth, but no words came out. The weight of their stares, the officer's approach, the humiliation. "It crushed her, ma'am," the officer said, as if she were older than 15, as if she were some hardened criminal. "We've had a report. Can you show ID?" Usher's hands shook as she reached into her backpack, and then, the moment she would remember for the rest of her life, her mom's car screeched into the parking lot, tires squealing. The doors flew open, and out stepped a woman who looked like she'd just stepped out of a storm herself. Officer Thompson blinked. "Chief Walker." Usher's mom strode in, uniform sharp, badge gleaming. Chief of Police, the highest-ranking officer in the county, and white as snow. Her eyes took in the scene, her daughter's terror, the smirking boys, the stunned officers. Her voice was ice. "What the hell is going on here?" The restaurant went silent. Even the fryers seemed to stop sizzling. "Ma'am, Chief Walker, we just..." Officer Thompson stammered, his confidence draining away. "You just what?" Chief Walker's eyes locked on him. "You just harassed a kid sitting quietly, minding her business. You just took the word of a few little liars and came here with lights flashing like she's some threat." Thompson swallowed hard. The younger officer beside him, barely out of academy, shifted awkwardly, clearly wishing he were anywhere else. "Mom," Usher said, voice small. Her mom turned, and in that moment, Usher saw the fury fade, just enough for love to show. "Baby, are you okay?" "I didn't do anything," Usher whispered. "I know." Chief Walker turned back to the officers. "You should be ashamed, both of you." The boys at the corner booth looked less smug now. One of them tried to slink down in his seat. "Let me guess," Chief Walker said, stepping closer to their table. "You boys felt threatened by a 15-year-old girl checking her phone." The leader of the group, the one who'd made the first call, tried to speak, but his mouth worked soundlessly. "You've made a big mistake today," she said. "And so have the officers who humiliated my daughter based on nothing but your lies." A manager appeared from the back, nervous, wringing his hands. "Chief Walker, I had no idea what was happening." "I save it," she snapped. "I want the surveillance footage from the moment my daughter walked in to now, and I want it sent to my office tonight." The man nodded rapidly. "Yes, ma'am, of course." "Mom, let's just go," Usher said, desperate to escape the eyes on her. But her mother wasn't done. She turned to the other customers, people who'd sat in silence, watching it all unfold, none of them stepping in. Her voice rose, firm and clear. "If any of you think this is okay, if you think a kid being treated like this is normal, you're part of the problem." No one met her gaze. The ride home was quiet at first. Usher stared out the window, heart still racing. "I'm sorry," her mum said finally, voice softer now. "I should have gotten there faster." "You couldn't have known," Usher said. "They called the cops on me for nothing." Her mum gripped the steering wheel tighter. "They didn't see you. They saw a threat, and that makes me sick." Usher blinked hard, fighting tears. "I don't want to go back there. Ever." "You won't have to," her mum promised. "But we are going to do something about this." That night, while Usher tried to distract herself with music, her mum was on the phone. Calls to the department, to the mayor's office, to internal affairs. She wasn't just angry, she was on a mission. By morning, the video from McDonald's, had already started to circulate the chief's daughter, quietly sipping a drink, harassed without cause. The boys' faces were clear on the footage, as were their smirks when the cops arrived. The backlash began immediately. Social media exploded with outrage. #JusticeFarusha trended. News vans parked outside their house, but the bullies weren't done. That afternoon, Usher's phone buzzed an unknown number. A text popped up. "Bet you feel real special now. This isn't over." She stared at the words, dread pooling in her stomach. Her mum's promise echoed in her mind. "We are going to do something about this." Usher didn't know how yet, but something told her this was just the beginning. Usher barely slept that night. Every time she closed her eyes, she saw the flashing lights, the smirks of those boys, the shame of being treated like she didn't belong. And now, that text, "Bet you feel real special now. This isn't over." She stared at her phone in the dark, the glow of the screen the only light in her room. She wanted to block the number, delete the message, but something made her keep it. Proof. By morning, things had only gotten worse. News trucks camped outside their house, reporters eager for a soundbite. "Usher, how does it feel to be at the center of this controversy? Chief Walker, do you think your position influenced how the case is being handled?" Her mum shielded Usher with her arm as they got into the car. "No comment," she snapped, slamming the door shut. Usher hunched down in the passenger seat, wishing she could disappear. "Mom, why is everyone making such a big deal? Can't we just forget about it?" Her mother glanced at her. "Because this isn't just about you. It's about every kid who's been treated like you were. And those boys, they're going to learn that actions have consequences." At school, things were no better. As soon as Usher walked through the gates, she felt it. The stares, the whispers. "That's her. The girl from the news. Her. Mum's the police chief, right? Bet they're getting special treatment. Probably faked the whole thing for attention." Usher kept her head down, trying to ignore them. But as she reached her locker, a piece of paper fluttered to the floor. She picked it up. On it, scrawled in thick black marker, were the words, "Snitch." Her hands shook. She crumpled the note and shoved it in her bag. Lunchtime offered no escape. She sat alone at a table, pushing food around on her tray. Then a voice behind her. "Enjoy your 15 minutes, freak." She turned. The same group of boys from McDonald's stood there, grinning. "You think you're so smart, getting us in trouble." The leader hissed. "I didn't do anything to you." Usher burst out. "Whatever. You're going to regret messing with us." Before she could react, they dumped a carton of milk over her tray and walked off, laughing. Usher fled to the bathroom, heart pounding, cheeks burning. When she got home that day, she found her mum in the kitchen, phone pressed to her ear, notes spread across the counter. "Usher." Her mum hung up immediately. "What happened?" Usher tried to brush it off. "It's nothing. Just ... Kids being kids." "No." Chief Walker's voice was firm. "You don't have to put up with this. I don't want to make things worse." Her mum knelt beside her. "You didn't make this happen. They did, and I'm going to stop them, but you have to trust me." That night, her mum called a meeting at the station. Officers, school officials, even the mayor. "This isn't just bullying," Chief Walker said. "This is harassment, hate, and it won't stop unless we act." But not everyone agreed. "Ma'am, with all due respect," one officer said, "it might look like favoritism if we go after these boys too hard." The mayor hesitated. "The town's divided enough. Maybe we should let this blow over." Chief Walker's eyes blazed. "Let it blow over, so they can keep terrorizing my daughter, or someone else's kid next time." The room fell silent. The next morning, things took a darker turn as Usher and her mum left the house. They found their mailbox smashed to pieces. Spray painted on the sidewalk in front of their house were 2 words, "Go home." Usher felt tears sting her eyes. "This is my home," she whispered. Her mum stood frozen for a second. Then she grabbed her phone. "Enough. This ends now." The police launched an official investigation. The vandalism, the harassment, no more warnings, no more gentle talks with parents, and Chief Walker did something no one expected. She called a town meeting. The hall was packed. Residents, reporters, the bullies' parents, even the boys themselves, trying to act innocent. Chief Walker stood at the podium, Usher beside her. "My daughter was targeted because of who she is, because of how she looks, and too many people stood by and let it happen." Murmurs filled the room. Some nodded in agreement. Others looked uncomfortable. "I'm not just speaking as the police chief. I'm speaking as a mother, and I'm telling you this community has a problem, and we are going to fix it." She played the surveillance footage on a big screen for all to see. The boys' faces, their smirks. The moment the cops arrived, there was no denying the truth anymore. But as the meeting ended and people left, Asha felt a chill. The boys glared at her from across the room. The leader mouthed one word: payback. The night after the town meeting, the Walker house felt like it was holding its breath. Asha sat on her bed, knees hugged to her chest, listening to every creak of the floorboards, every hum of the refrigerator, every distant bark of a neighbor's dog. She couldn't shake the image of the boys at the meeting, their eyes burning with hatred, their silent promise of revenge. Her phone buzzed on the nightstand. She hesitated before picking it up. A new message from another, unknown number. "You think your mom can save you? You're dead wrong." Asha's heart sank. The next morning, her mom was on the phone again, speaking in clipped tones to the school principal. "They're threatening her. It's not just bullying anymore. If the school can't keep her safe, I will take legal action." Asha didn't want to hear it anymore. She grabbed her bag and headed for the door, but her mom stopped her. "Wait, I'm driving you today." Asha tried to protest, but one look at her mom's face told her it wasn't up for debate. The ride was tense. As they pulled into the school lot, Asha spotted the group of boys lounging near the entrance, pretending they hadn't been waiting for her. But this time, there was someone else. A tall man in a dark hoodie stood a few feet behind them, watching. His face was hidden, but something about the way he stood, arms crossed, head low, sent a chill down Asha's spine. "Who's that?" she asked. Her mum frowned. "I don't know. Stay close to the building. If anything feels off, call me. I'll be here in seconds." School was no refuge. Whispers followed her everywhere. Some students stared at her like she was famous. Others glared like she'd ruined their lives. By lunchtime, she couldn't take it anymore. She grabbed her tray and slipped outside to the far edge of the schoolyard, where no one else sat. For a few blessed minutes, she felt almost normal. The breeze on her face, the warmth of the sun. Then she heard it, the crunch of footsteps on gravel. She turned. The boys were back, and they weren't alone. The man in the hoodie stood with them now, arms folded, silent. "What do you want?" Asha said, her voice steady, despite the fear tightening in her chest. "You humiliated us." The leader spat. "Everyone thinks we're monsters. You and your mom made us look bad. You did that to yourselves." Asha shot back. "Wrong move." The boy lunged forward, knocking her tray to the ground. The others closed in, but before they could touch her, a voice rang out across the yard. "Hey!" It was the assistant principal, sprinting toward them. The boys froze. The man in the hoodie was already gone. Asha was brought to the office, where she told her story. But no one seemed to know who the man was. "Maybe he's just someone's older brother," one staff member suggested, but Asha wasn't convinced. The way he'd watched, silent and still, it felt like he was measuring her, waiting. Her mom picked her up early that day. They drove home in silence. As they turned onto their street, Asha gasped. Their front door was wide open. Her mom slammed on the brakes, jumped out, and drew her weapon as she approached the house. Asha stayed frozen in the car, heart hammering in her chest. Minutes passed like hours before her mom emerged again. "Whoever it was, they're gone," she said grimly, "but they left a message." She handed Asha a crumpled piece of paper. On it was a single word, scrawled in jagged black letters, ENOUGH. That night, Chief Walker set up extra patrols around their home. She installed new locks, checked every window twice, but it wasn't enough to ease the tension clawing at Asha's insides. She felt hunted, and worse, she didn't know by who. Was it just the boys, or was someone else behind all this? Days passed. The boys were suspended after the yard incident, but that didn't stop the threats. Notes shoved into Asha's locker, vulgar messages spray-painted on the sidewalk near their house, scrubbed clean each time, only to reappear the next morning. And the man in the hoodie, no one had seen him again, or so Asha thought. One afternoon, she stayed late at school for a tutoring session. When she left the building, the parking lot was nearly empty. She felt it before she saw him, that prickle at the back of her neck. There he was, across the lot, half hidden behind a row of cars, watching. Asha didn't wait. She ran back inside and called her mum. Chief Walker arrived within minutes, but by then, the man was gone. "This isn't just about those boys anymore," her mum said, face pale but determined. We're dealing with someone else, someone who doesn't want this to end. That night, as Asha lay awake, she realized something. The man in the hoodie hadn't been with the boys. He'd been using them, watching how they attacked, seeing what they'd get away with. And now, he was stepping out of the shadows. Who was he, and what did he want? The next morning, Asha didn't want to get out of bed. Her heart felt heavy, as if the weight of every threat, every glare, every hateful word had settled into her bones. Her mom knocked gently on the door. "Asha, you'd have to get up, sweetheart." "I can't," Asha said, her voice muffled by the pillow. "I don't want to see anyone." Her mom came in and sat beside her. "I know this is hard, but if you let them make you hide, they win." Asha rolled over, looking at her mom with tear-filled eyes. "They already won. I'm scared all the time." Chief Walker took her hand. "Then we'll face this together. I promise you, we will stop them." The ride to school was quiet. As they pulled up, Asha froze. Spray-painted across the school's front sign in dripping black letters was a chilling message. Asha's fault. Her mum's face went hard. She parked, marched straight into the principal's office, and demanded answers. "This is a hate crime," she said, "and I want cameras checked, witnesses interviewed." Today, the principal stammered excuses, but Chief Walker wasn't having it. "I'll have my own officers assist if you're not up to the task," she said. That day at school was torture. Everywhere Asha went, she felt eyes on her. Some students offered quiet sympathy. A few tried to say kind words, but others, they fed off the drama. She probably did it herself for attention. Her mum's just using her to look good. By the time the final bell rang, Asha felt numb. But as she walked to the parking lot, her stomach clenched. There at the far edge, half shielded by the trees, stood the man in the hoodie. Watching, Asha froze. Before she could react, he turned and walked away, disappearing into the woods. She ran to her mom's car, slamming the door shut. "He was here," she gasped. "I saw him again." Her mom gripped the steering wheel, fury flashing in her eyes. "Okay, no more waiting. Tonight, we're going to figure out who this is." That night, Chief Walker called in a favor. A tech officer from her department came to their house, setting up cameras around the property, hidden high definition, motion triggered. "Whoever's doing this will slip up," he said. "We'll get them on tape." And for the first time in days, Asha felt a flicker of hope. But the man in the hoodie wasn't done. The next morning, their security cameras captured it. Just after midnight, a shadow at the edge of the yard. The man moved, with eerie calm, as if he knew the cameras were there but didn't care. He placed something at the foot of their porch, and then, he melted into the night. When Asha and her mom stepped outside at dawn, they saw it. A small box, wrapped in brown paper. Chief Walker drew her gun, motioned Asha back, and carefully opened the package. Inside was a note. The words chilled her to the bone. "Your mother's badge won't protect you. Soon, you'll know what real fear feels like." And beneath the note, a crudely carved wooden figure of a girl, painted black, with a red X slashed across it. That day, Chief Walker pulled Asha from school. "You're not going back until this is over," she said. And together they went to the station. Chief Walker called a full briefing. "This isn't just about bullying anymore," she told her team. "This is targeted, calculated, and escalating. We are dealing with someone dangerous." She ordered increased patrols at their home, surveillance on the boys who'd started it all, and a search for the man in the hoodie. But no one seemed to know who he was, until a break came from an unlikely source. Later that evening, Asha scrolled through social media, desperate for distraction. That's when she saw it. A blurry photo posted by a student who lived near the woods behind the school. It showed a figure in a hoodie, carrying what looked like a can of spray paint. The caption, "Who is this creep hanging around my yard last night?" Asha's blood ran cold. She showed her mom, who immediately had the tech team enhance the image. And when they did, Chief Walker's face went pale. "I know him," she whispered. The man's name was Roy Beckett, a former officer, fired 2 years ago for misconduct, excessive force, abuse of authority, targeting minorities. He'd blamed Chief Walker for his dismissal, calling it a personal vendetta. And now, it seemed he was back. That night, Chief Walker didn't sleep. She worked the phones, coordinating with state police, issuing warnings, setting up roadblocks. But Roy Beckett was nowhere to be found, and as the hours ticked by, Asha felt dread sink deeper into her bones. This wasn't over. Roy had a plan. Soon, he'd strike. The house felt like a fortress now. Patrol cars passed by every hour. Motion lights lit up the yard at the slightest movement. Inside, the doors stayed locked, the curtains drawn tight, but no amount of security could erase the sense of being watched. Asha barely ate, she barely slept. Each time she closed her eyes, she saw the wooden figure, the red X slashed across its chest. Her mum worked non-stop, coordinating with officers, state police, even the FBI. But Roy Beckett remained a ghost until the night he stopped hiding. It started with a bang at 2:00 a.m. Asha shot upright in bed, heart racing. Another bang, louder this time, and then the sharp crack of glass shattering. Her mum burst into the room. "Stay here, don't move." But Asha followed anyway, heart pounding as they crept toward the living room. The front window was smashed, shards glinting on the floor. On the porch, in the cold glow of the security lights, stood Roy Beckett. His face was gaunt, eyes wild, mouth twisted in a sneer. In one hand, he held the crowbar. In the other, a can of gasoline. "Roy," Chief Walker shouted, drawing her weapon. "Back off, Walker," he spat. "You took everything from me, now it's your turn." He splashed gasoline across the porch, the smell sharp and nauseating. "Put it down." But Roy only laughed, a high, broken sound that made Asha's skin crawl. "You ruined my life. You think you and that little brat can hide behind your badge forever." Asha's mum stepped forward. "You need help, Roy. Don't do this." But Roy was past reason. He struck a match, the tiny flame dancing in the dark. "Let's see how you like losing everything." Before he could drop it, floodlights blazed to life. Shouts rang out. Officers swarmed the yard, weapons drawn. "Drop it," came the command. Roy hesitated, eyes darting wildly, and then with a roar he hurled the match at the porch. Flames leaped up, licking at the wood, spreading fast. But before he could flee, 2 officers tackled him, wrestling him to the ground. Chief Walker grabbed a hose, dousing the flames, heart hammering in her chest. Asha stood frozen, watching the man who haunted her finally dragged away in handcuffs. The next hours were a blur. Firefighters checked the house. Officers took statements. Neighbors gathered, shaken by the chaos. Asha clung to her mom, exhausted and overwhelmed. "I was so scared," she whispered. Her mom kissed the top of her head. "It's over, baby. He's gone." But in the days that followed, the town began to change. People who'd stayed silent before now spoke up. The mayor called a special session, pledging reforms, better training for officers, stronger protections against hate crimes. Parents demanded accountability from the school, and those boys, their families moved away quietly, unable to face the shame. For Asha, the healing was slow. The stares stopped, the whispers faded, but the scars remained reminders of what she'd survived. Her mum kept her promise. They faced it together, and the town, once blind to its divisions, began to open its eyes. Weeks passed since that terrifying night when Roy Beckett was dragged away in handcuffs, screaming curses that echoed into the darkness. The porch was repaired, the charred marks scrubbed away, but the memories, those couldn't be erased. So icily Asha stood in her room, staring out at the yard where so much had happened. She could still see the flames in her mind's eye, still hear the crackle of burning wood. But now, as the spring sun warmed the earth, something felt different. The fear that had gripped her heart for so long was loosening its hold. At school, people treated her differently. It wasn't just the end of the whispers or the stares, it was the way kids who had once looked right through her now nodded in greeting or smiled. Teachers checked in more often. Staff actually listened when students reported bullying, and those hateful boys, gone. Their families had packed up quietly in the night, unable to bear the weight of public shame after Roy's arrest revealed their connection to his vendetta. One day after school, Asha stayed behind in the library, working on an essay for English class. "What courage means to me." Her pen hovered over the page, but the words didn't come easily. Courage, she thought, wasn't what she imagined it to be. It wasn't about fighting or being loud. It wasn't about never being scared. Courage was standing up when your legs felt like jelly. It was speaking the truth when your voice shook. It was holding on even when it felt like the world wanted to break you. That weekend, the town held a community meeting, not because of crisis, but because of change. Chief Walker stood at the front of the hall, not as the police chief this time, but as a neighbor, a mother, a citizen. "I can't undo the pain my daughter went through," she said, voice steady but filled with emotion. But together, we can make sure no one else has to feel that fear, that isolation, ever again. The room erupted in applause, real applause, not polite, not forced. The mayor announced a new initiative, mandatory anti-bias training for all city employees and school staff, a youth council to give students a voice in school policies, a community fund to support victims of hate crimes and harassment. And when the mayor asked Usher if she'd like to help lead the youth council, she hesitated only a second before nodding. "Yes," she said, "I want to help." Roy Beckett was sentenced swiftly. The evidence was overwhelming. No more hiding, no more terrorizing others. For Usher, his name became part of the past, a chapter closed. Months later, Usher stood again at the McDonald's where it all began. She and her mum walked in together, heads high, no longer a place of fear, no longer a place of shame. They ordered their food and sat by the window, watching the world go by. And Usher realized something. What had started with cruelty and hate had led to something bigger. Change, not just for her, but for everyone. That night, as she closed her journal, she wrote one last line beneath her essay draft. "Courage isn't the absence of fear. It's choosing to stand anyway." The end.